Zeus, you are such a douchebag. Oh, hey, I was just brushing up on my Greek mythology. You know, I got this book when I was a kid, and I learned a lot from it. I just wanted to get a refresher since today we'll be watching the Greek version of Harry Potter. Well, if you're gonna rip something off, rip off something successful, right? But let's be fair. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief is a great book in its own right. It's wonderfully researched and cleverly executed, bringing up ancient Greek stories and myths in fun, exciting ways. A lot of the fun is seeing how the old myths adapted and exist in modern-day society, like the Lotus Eaters in Vegas. That made me laugh. The characters have a lot of charm, which made it for a somewhat meandering storyline. It was still a fun read, though. Especially since I'm still recovering from Inkheart. Ugh. Percy Jackson and the Olympians is a 5-part series written by Rick Riordan. The Lightning Thief is the first book in this series and was released in 2005 to great appeal. It has lots of details ranging from obscure Greek myths to fundamentals in Greek literature. One thing that I liked immediately is that Percy isn't the son of the chief god Zeus, but rather the god of the seas, Poseidon. It gave him a chance to be really powerful without him falling into the overdone son of the hero, #1 badass cliché. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief was released in 2010 and was directed by Chris Columbus, who also directed Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the first 2 Harry Potter movies. So no, I'm not done making Harry Potter jokes. It also stars Logan Lerman, who you might have seen in 2009's flop, Gamer.
Gay, tardily gay.
Ooh, I am gonna tear that guy to shreds. Let's not waste any time and check out Greek Harry Potter. No, I'm not letting that go. So, as you can imagine, Greek gods and monsters living amongst us would have to be subtle and smart, just like they are in the book. Let's see how the movie handles it. Seconds. We're 30 seconds into the movie proper, and Hollywood's already ruined one of the major concepts of the book. And this is in New York, one of the most densely populated cities in the country. Not to mention it's the city that never sleeps. It doesn't matter if Poseidon is doing this at night. People on the streets are walking around armed with smartphones that could very easily record a 50-foot water god stepping onto a dock and evaporating into a mini version of himself. It's like he's trying to wind up on YouTube. There's even a guy fishing who sees all this, and Poseidon knows it. The first 30 seconds of the movie take the cunning gods from the books and make them out to be so arrogant that they assume they can just walk around in god mode and no one would notice. This is... I'm sorry, I need a moment. Okay, so, Poseidon meets with Zeus, chief of the Greek gods, who laments the loss of his master bolt, the lightning bolt which controls all the lightning in the world, as well as Zeus's symbol and most powerful weapon. And he thinks he knows who did it.
We are forbidden from stealing each other's powers.
But our children aren't. You're accusing my son.
You know, the book at least waited until Percy knew about his demigod status before dropping this bombshell. In fact, this entire scene wasn't in the book. This exchange just makes the gods seem less mysterious and more human. Really not a great way to start the movie when the all-powerful gods who could destroy the planet if they went to war just come off as a group of arrogant Bond villains. And speaking of Bond, Pierce Brosnan's in this movie too, just heavily bearded, kinda disheveled, and stuck in a wheelchair. So I guess he's like Lieutenant Dan now. But he's not the star. Percy Jackson is. The dyslexic, hyperactive kid who loves being underwater.
7 minutes. 7 minutes? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's crazy, man. That's ridiculous. How do you do it? I just like being in water.
Okay, I know that's not a world record, but how does something like that not make it in the news or garner any attention at all? He lives a normal life, living with his mother and douchebag stepfather, but all that changes when he goes on a field trip to a Greek exhibit at the local museum. He gets attacked by a fury, then discovers that Pierce Brosnan and his buddy Grover might know more about him than they're letting on.
He's no longer secure.
Okay, where should we move him?
We have no choice. At the camp.
Huh? What camp?
I'm just going to take a second to talk about Grover. He was much more of a comedy relief in the book, not quite to the point of getting annoying, but here in the movie they try to make him a little more dramatic. It's not a bad change, and honestly, I kind of like it.
Why did Mr. Bruner ask you to watch me? Because I'm your protector. Wait, hold up. My protector? Are you kidding? What? You think because I'm like this, I'm not capable of keeping you safe?
Do not make fun of guys with MS. They will bust your ass wide open. Grover, Percy, and his mother Sally all drive into the countryside, with Sally stalling for hours instead of just coming right out and saying who Percy's father is.
Why did he have to go?
Because he's...
Sally, watch out!
You just can't enjoy a nice drive in the country without someone punting dead cows on the road, can you?
What is that?
I can't tell! Our lighting department sucks! It turns out that they were attacked by the Minotaur. He manages to kill Percy's mother, so Percy goes ballistic and kills him right back. But the fight drains Percy and he passes out. He wakes up 3 days later in the infirmary of Camp Half-Blood. Grover gets him up to speed and shows him around the camp.
This is Camp Half-Blood.
Half meaning what?
I think you know. Half meaning half mortal, half god. Fire! Whoa! Guys, watch the arrows. Newcomer, hello.
Why are they practicing archery in the middle of the road? Wait, isn't that still outside the infirmary? Why are they practicing by shooting at the infirmary? Does no one see the inherent risk here? Hey, how you feeling, Julie?
A little woozy. Am I gonna be alright?
Well, it was touch and go there for a little while, but I'm sure you're gonna be just... Damn it!
Yep, you're a demigod.
I'm not a hero. I'm a loser. I have dyslexia, ADHD.
And those are your greatest gifts. Look, don't worry, but you're not alone. There's hundreds in the world. Some lead normal lives, and some, I'm not allowed to divulge their names, are very famous. I'm talking about like White House famous.
Nah. As the tour concludes, Percy learns that Pierce Brosnan is a centaur and that he gets his own cabin by the lake.
This whole place is mine? Seems you got some weight to it. My father's Poseidon.
No shit!
It's exceedingly rare for a child to be born to one of the big three.
Now, the big three are arguably the most important gods, that being Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. And this is just a small list of Zeus's kids. Alright, that was a cheap shot, but unlike the book, the movie doesn't do anything to justify this idea. It's like the screenwriters forgot that Zeus was one of the most adulterous gods who ever existed. Camp Half-Blood is like Hogwarts if Hogwarts was a summer camp. Kids with Greek gods for parents come here to train to be heroes and leaders. And to do this, of course, they play capture the flag while trying to murder each other. Oh, good God! Guys! It's capture the flag, not Battlefield Thor! After getting separated from his team captain, Percy stumbles upon the enemy flag.
I won! Whoa!
Did you really think it would be that easy?
My plan to leave the flag undefended was a complete success!
My mother is goddess of wisdom and battle strategy. Do you know what that means?
That you're a tremendous disappointment?
I always win.
Percy gets his ass thoroughly handed to him, but just as the red team's victory looks assured, the voices in Percy's head start talking to him.
Go to the water. The water will give you power.
Glad I'm not the only one who hears I should set the building on fire. The fire floods everything! So after getting a little moist, Percy becomes a super soldier and easily bests Annabeth in a rematch, grabbing the flag and winning the game. So if getting wet makes him stronger, what would happen if Percy was a woman? Aww. So the camp throws a party for the sake of throwing a party, I guess, as Percy and Annabeth get to know each other a little better.
I
get the sense that you don't like me very much.
It's possible. I mean, our parents hate each other.
And here I'd like to introduce a new segment to the show called Horrible Line Delivery.
I definitely have strong feelings for you. Just haven't decided if they're positive or negative yet.
Oh, just look at that! How blank her face is, how awkward that delivery is, how no one would ever mutter those words ever. Beautifully done, beautifully done. That was truly horrible. But things pick up as the camp gets a visit from the Prince of Darkness himself, Diablo. I'm pretty sure he had boobs last time I killed him. No, it's Hades, and he has a message for the Lightning Thief.
Percy Jackson, bring me the bolt. Hand it to me, and I will exchange it for your mother.
So Percy does what any kid does in these stories. Goes against common sense, gathers his things, tells his friends not to come along who do so anyway, and just like that, the Harry Potter trio is complete. We have the serious hero, the smart, experienced female, and the comedy relief. However, they still don't know where to go, so they turn to Luke, son of Hermes, the god of messages, for advice. And this is where it really goes from bad to worse. See, the movie has just been benign so far. Questionable choices, yes, but no real damage. This, however, is where the theme starts to unravel. The book acted as more of a road trip, showing Percy the real world while he learned more about himself and his friends. It was clever and had a definite direction to it. There was character growth and it was fun. But now...
Getting in's the easy part. Getting out, well, that's tricky. This is a map to Persephone's pearls. These pearls, they provide a quick escape from the underworld. You could use them to get out.
It's been dumbed down to a simple treasure hunting movie. Now, normally that wouldn't be too bad. It's close enough in scope that it can still be adapted. Except Persephone didn't have any pearls to give away. Those came from Poseidon. Next rant. Poseidon was very absent from Percy's life in the book, something else the movie has been screwing up, and I would complain about that, but I'm on a time limit and the internet can only handle so much of my bitching. Poseidon giving Percy the pearls as a means of escape was a genuine moment of affection from a reluctantly distant father, even though he did it through a third party. But it still showed that he cared about Percy and was willing to break the rules set by Zeus to aid his son. That, however, has been replaced with telepathy and a literal Deus Ex Machina, which I think I've made it clear by now I hate. Oh, and it only gets worse. Watch. The first stop on our little road trip is to Auntie M's Gnome Emporium. It's a rundown, dirty little roadside shop, so it fits well with New Jersey. But there's a sudden shock as Grover learns where they actually are.
Yeah, it's not my Uncle Ferdinand, because my Uncle Ferdinand was killed by Medusa. Percy!
But Annabeth and this random extra have already found Medusa, played by Uma Thurman.
So rude, not looking people in the eye.
Mustn't be rude. They managed to kill her by crashing a truck through the building, then slicing her head off from behind. I gotta admit, that was pretty cool. And as luck would have it, Medusa was wearing the first pearl.
One down, two to go.
Their next stop is the Parthenon in Nashville. Subtle. They sneak in at night and steal the pearl easily enough, but it's guarded by another ancient beast.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Jackson.
Not again. Okay, this is bad.
I knew it! Janitors are actually unholy monsters! Now, the thing about hydras is you can't just kill them normally. Once you cut off a head, you have to cauterize the wound with a torch to stop it from regrowing. However, the movie takes a slightly different direction. Using the bow and arrows Annabeth did not have in any previous shot, and the severed head of Medusa, they subdue the monster and turn it to stone. So, this is a world in which the ancient Greek gods and monsters go unnoticed. What's going to happen the next day when they reopen the Parthenon and see a giant 10-headed hydra sitting there overnight for all the world to see? If it had crumbled into dust, then maybe the movie could get away with it. But no! It just leaves it there completely intact. The book never left such obvious clues, so why does the movie go out of its way to risk the gods' exposure? I just... Excuse me. The last pearl is hidden in Las Vegas, specifically at the Lotus Hotel and Casino. Now, if you're familiar with the Greek myth, you know that it's associated with the lotus eaters and is therefore a horrible trap wherein you fall into a peaceful apathy after eating a lotus flower.
Now we're here for one thing and one thing only. Wow. That is really awesome.
You know, I don't think I'd mind being trapped here.
Where would we find a green pearl in this place?
Maybe on a cocktail waitress or a showgirl.
Considering Vegas, that's not too far off, actually. Well, our trio is only versed in basic Greek myths, so it looks like none of them know to avoid eating the lotus flowers, and they soon fall into a drug-induced state. So of course Lady Gaga starts playing.
Wow. Guys, why don't we stay here for a while?
However, Poseidon talks to Percy via his telepathy to break Percy out of the spell, and Percy finds the pearl being used as a roulette ball. We get another fight scene as the trio escapes in a demo car and make their way to California, which contains the entrance to Tartarus.
Don't slip, watch your step. Whoa, wait. Hold it. Woe to all depraved souls.
Is anyone actually surprised that the entrance to the underworld is in California? So they make it to the underworld, where they face the ultimate evil.
If you like your healthcare plan, you'll be able to keep your healthcare plan.
No, not that one. To properly understand why this doesn't work, we have to back up a little. One of the more impressive elements from Rick Riordan's story isn't just how he used Greek characters, gods, and monsters, but how he understood Greek theater and specifically tragedy. For example, before Percy left for his trip in the book, he went to see the Oracle, who warned him that on this journey, he would fail to save what was most important. And that leads to part 2 of this movie's failure to understand Greek tragedy, which we'll get into in a minute. So the trio makes it to Hades' palace.
Persephone! What could possibly be taking so long? Don't ignore me.
Or what? What will you do? I'm already in hell.
Alright, that was funny. Hades still believes that Percy has the Master Bolt and is willing to trade Sally's life in order to get it, even though Percy insists that he doesn't have it. But there's a certain secret even Percy is unaware of.
Zeus's Master Bolt. Liar. Feed them to the souls.
Things look dark for our heroes, when suddenly...
All right, come on. Go on, give it back.
Why'd you do that?
Because he's cruel and abusive.
Okay, I get that. But if you were going to betray Hades the whole time, why did you summon the hounds in the fireplace at all? This is the worst kind of dramatic tension. The problem comes and goes so quickly that there's no time for it to sink in. And in this case, it's caused and solved by the very same person. You think they could do something to hold the tension for more than 5 seconds? Whatever, so Percy has the bolt in hand now and can deliver it to Zeus before he destroys the world. However, there are now 4 of them who need to escape and only 3 pearls. Someone will have to stay behind. Yeah, we've all seen this before. They argue about who's gonna stay, and they all have their reasons, but in the end, it's the mother's love that wins out, and she stays behind so her son and friends can...
Guys, knock it off. I'm staying because I'm the protector.
We'll come back for you.
What the hell is this? Are you serious? He barely put up an argument! That's a dick way to treat your friend! Plus, this ties into my earlier rant about Greek tragedies. Losing his mother fits in with the theme of tragedy, going all that way to save her and coming back empty-handed. Riordan understood that, which is why Percy's mother stays behind in the book. Besides, taking her along and leaving Grover doesn't do anything for the rest of the movie's plot. Again, They took a meaningful scene and ruined it for no good reason. I hate to say it, but going with the cliche would have been the better move. Oh, wait, but it gets worse. Percy, Annabeth, and Sally are teleported to Mount Olympus, which is now the top level of the Empire State Building. It looks like they're home free when guess who shows up?
Well, you weren't supposed to make it out alive.
Okay, I'm not going to question how Luke knew that his plan failed or that he knew that Percy would be right there, but whatever credibility the movie had just collapsed.
You hid the bolt in my shield. Why?
Well, when you said you were going to the underworld, it hit me. That is the perfect opportunity to get the bolt to Hades.
Why would you do that?
To bring Olympus crumbling down.
Really? And whose plan was all this? Certainly not yours. In fact, I'm pretty sure you just destroyed the continuity of the entire series! I'm going to avoid giving a pretty big spoiler here, but by not revealing or even involving the actual mastermind, the final movie can't happen nearly as effectively. You see, there's a massive conspiracy to take down Olympus here, and Luke is just a foot soldier, but the movie would have you believe that he was doing this all single-handedly. And you remember what I said earlier about no one really doing anything to hide this secret world? Well, get a load of this fight scene! Look at that! Plenty of people on the ground, and are you telling me that no one notices lightning being discharged from below the building tops? So we have a soiled ending, a ruined chance at Greek tragedy, a lackluster fight scene, no mention of the actual mastermind, and the Master Bolt being fired repeatedly outside of Zeus's front door, and he never notices it! This is just... Alcohol makes it better. Alcohol makes it all better. Percy wins the fight by creating a tsunami on a rooftop, just go with it, then chucks Luke into the Hudson River. He then delivers the Master Bolt, and no one notices this either. God damn it, New York. Percy gives the Master Bolt back, much to Zeus's approval.
You're wise to betray your father.
I didn't steal it. And I have no connection to Poseidon.
Aww.
Brother, please. I need to speak with him. Just this once.
Just once, huh?
Everything is about to change, Percy. Go to the water. No, Percy. Don't eat the flower.
So the movie ends on a hopeful note. Zeus's wrath is sated, Grover is back and is now growing horns, and the archery kids still don't have a proper archery range. This is a weird camp. And we end on some more awkward sword fighting. And that was Percy Jackson. How's it hold up? Well... Okay, I'll get the good things out of the way first. The special effects in this movie are great. For the most part. And the set pieces look fantastic. A lot of people obviously put a lot of hard work into making these places look as real as possible. I wish I went to a summer camp that looked half this nice. And I guess that the acting wasn't too bad. These guys are obviously having a lot of fun, and good on them for it. Plus we finally found a movie where Sean Bean might not get killed. Now for the bad. Everything else! The writing can get awkward in some of the dialogue, but it's at its worst when it's changing elements from the book. I don't fault the movie for cutting Grover's quest to find Pan or Annabeth's crush on Luke or anything about Thalia, but cutting everything else means they'll have to rush it in the other movies, which will just make it appear sloppy. It never explains how Luke stole the Master Bolt or who helped him. I mean, the conspiracy to take down Olympus was started in this book. Are you really gonna brush it off as being led by an angsty teenager who just needed a hug from daddy? Overall, the movie sucks more than a riptide. The changes they made create massive plot holes for this movie and likely for the sequel. It does have some impressive technical elements and it might entertain anyone who hasn't read the book, but there's really no comparison. I doubt the screenwriters even skimmed more than a few pages from the source material. I'm Crimson Rogue and I am never drinking again.